The character you play as is created of three attributes. They are skills, traits, and perks. Skills are the things that you do, traits are the things you identify as being, and perks are the things you have. In other words, the things you do create a person who you are, and person who you are has the life that it has. Around 40% of our daily lives are composed of these skills. The problem is that these skills are often out of our awareness. We are not aware that we do these things on a regular basis. Which, if you think about it, 40% of your life you have consists of the things that you do on a regular basis without your awareness. If you are not in control of them, they are in control of you. Additionally, these skills, these habits, in another way to put it, are also tied with the addiction itself. In order for addiction to be tied with you and to be connected and grown within you, it is required for it to create its own set of skills. And therefore, a lot of your failed attempts are not because you have a weak willpower, but because you have created these automatic behaviors. You have developed skills which help the addiction to grow. So let's talk about more about these skills. Every skill is composed of four grading components: reminder, urge, launch, and the end result. Reminder is the thing that starts the skill. Urge is the motivation, it's the why question, why you want to do it. It is the pursuit for the final result. Then there is the launch itself, which is the action that is trying to get to that final result, to that end result. And the end result defines the motive. It's the answer to the question why you are doing this. Reminder is the thing that starts the habit. Urge is the thing that drives you to get the final result. Launch is the action itself that is trying to get you to that end result. And the end result is the reason why you are doing it. It's the answer to a question why. Every skill is composed of these four grading components. Skill itself has a different stages at which you can find that skill. And it's development from a skill that you never have done into a fully upgraded and capped skill. The stages goes as following. At the beginning, there is a locked skill. It's locked because you either have no idea about its existence or you don't know all of its four grading components. You don't know how to do that skill in the first place. The moment you can figure out these four grading components of that skill, you have unlocked the skill because now you know how to do that skill. At the beginning, the skill is dead. It's dead because you are not doing it. And in order to resurrect the skill, you need to take these four grading components and put them into action. You need to do that skill. You can imagine it as every time you perform that skill, every time you do these four grading components, it is one pump of a heart that pushes the blood into the system, that is keeping the system alive. The more you do this skill, the more you are pumping the blood in and the more you are keeping that skill alive. You are resurrecting that skill. If you stop doing this skill, if you stop performing these activities, you are extincting this skill. You are putting this skill into extinction, into a dead state. Now, let's say that there is a skill that you are doing consistently. At the beginning, this life skill is unstable. It's unstable because the body and the mind doesn't know whether this is something worth to invest energy in or if it's just a one-time situation. If this is a one-time situation, it will be fine. I don't need this. I'll just let it go. But if you keep repeating this skill, you are signaling to the body and the mind that this is something important, that this is something that it's worth investing energy into. And thus, the more you are repeating this skill, the more you are upgrading the skill. Because upgrading means repeating. The more you are repeating this skill, the more you are upgrading it. Every time you do this skill, you are telling the body that this is important, that this is important, that this is important. And therefore, the body and the mind is trying to optimize the amount of energy it puts into this skill and making it from unstable form to a stable form. The difference between an unstable and a stable skill is that unstable requires a lot of energy at the beginning because the body needs to put a full focus, full attention into creating this skill. But the more you repeat this action, the more you're telling the body that this is important, and therefore it will try to optimize the energy input, which means that the moment this unstable skill becomes stable skills, the amount of energy it requires for you to perform this skill lowers. Unstable skills requires a lot of energy, stable skills requires a low amount of energy. Stable skills have a benefit of easily being formed. When you are creating new habit, because you are putting more energy into it, you are more flexible when it comes to forging this skill and trying to creating this skill. What it means is that if you do an error, and if you do, for example, something that is not part of the desired activity that doesn't give you the results you want to have, you are very flexible when it comes to changing this behavior. This is taken away the moment the skill becomes stable one. Because as you have this unstable skill, every time you repeat it and upgrade it, you are making it more solid, less flexible. This makes the possibility of when you notice an error in a stable skill very difficult to change it because it's almost as solidified already. On the other side, the downside of a unstable skill is that by itself it's not very beneficial. It doesn't have a lot of perks or a lot of benefits that it's giving you yet. But the stable skill, because you have more upgraded these skills and repeated it over and over again, has more stable and more stronger perks, more benefits that it gives you. These are the unstable and stable skills. We are not done yet because there is one last stage of a skill, which is a capped skill. As you are repeating a stable skill over and over again, a skill can become capped. And the reason is capped is because you reach a point where you cannot be more efficient and effective when it comes to performing this skill without down-regulating its overall performance. You can only maintain this rate of performance and that's it. You have reached max level. Let's give it an example. Let's say that you want to develop a skill of brushing your teeth. So at the beginning, you have no idea how to brush your teeth. So the skill is locked. But when you discover the four grading components, the skill becomes unlocked. And they are. Every time you wake up, you have a bad smell at your mouth. Because of this smell, it is a trigger that reminds you that you don't want this, you want to have a fresh breath. So you go to a second stage, which is the urge. And the urge is to, you want to remove this bad smell and to want to replace it by a good one, by a mint, for example. Therefore, you go to the third grading component, which is the lounge itself. And during the lunch, you are brushing your teeth. You know that you need to take your toothbrush, put that paste in, and just brush your teeth. That's the lunch. That's the action itself. And at the end result, you have a good and fresh breath. There is the bad breath itself in the morning. Urge is the desire to not have a bad breath, but to have a good breath. Then you go to lounge, which is brushing your teeth itself, the activity itself. And at the end, there is the end result, which talks about the fresh and mint taste of your breath. Once you figure out these four stages, you are performing that skill. You are turning it from a dead state into a live state. At the beginning, it's unstable and you have to like be careful about what's the pressure you need to do and apply it into your teeth. How you should hold the toothbrush with 2 fingers, 5 fingers, whatever. You are learning the basics. You are trying to turn the unstable skill into stable skill. And as you are repeating this and upgrading your skill, You reach a point where you are unable to increase your efficiency without downgrading its overall performance. So therefore, you have reached a capped skill. Let's say that you have unlocked a skill which is now a dead one. The process of turning the dead one into a live one is called resurrection. The process of taking a live skill into a dead skill is called extinction. Resurrection creates a live skill, and a live skill gives you its perks, gives you its benefits. At the moment this live skill gets extincted and becomes a dead skill, a dead skill no longer gives you its perks and its benefits. Lastly, there are two remaining processes that can happen. Let's say that you have a live skill. The process of turning it from an unstable to stable to capped skill is called upgrading. If you are taking the skill the other way, from capped to stable to unstable, you are downgrading the skill. And the way you do it is by taking the four grading components and either upgrade them or downgrade them. The way you upgrade and downgrade them is the following. When it comes to the reminder, if you want to upgrade the reminder, you need to make it more visible. If you want to downgrade the reminder, you need to make it invisible. The more visible is the reminder, the thing that starts a habit, the more likelihood for you to start the habit is. The opposite, the less visible, the more invisible the reminder is, the less likely you are to perform that habit in the first place. When it comes to the urges can be either attractive or boring. You can upgrade the urge, the question why you want to do it, by making it more attractive, and the process of downgrading the urge is by making it boring. When it comes to the process of launch, the launch is dependent on the amount of steps and activities you need to do in order to finish that skill. Therefore, if you want to upgrade a skill, the less things you have to do in order to start and finish the skill, the more chances you have at doing the skill in the first place. The other way around, if you want to downgrade a skill, the more steps you have to do in order to finish that skill, to get to that end result, the less likely you are to even start with the skill in the first place. And lastly, the final fourth grading component is the end result. If the end result is pleasurable, if it's a form of reward, something that makes you feel good, you will repeat this skill over and over again. But if you want to downgrade the skill, and if you want to stop this skill and extinct this skill, you need to make this skill painful. To upgrade it, you make yourself feel good at the end. In order to downgrade it and eventually extinct this skill, you need to make it painful. As an example with our toothbrush, if I want to upgrade it by making it more visible, I'll take the toothbrush and put it right next to the sink. So the moment I wake up and enter the bathroom, the first thing I will see is the toothbrush itself. It's the thing that reminds me of brushing my teeth. If I want to downgrade the reminder, I'll take the toothbrush and just hide it somewhere far, far away from my bathroom. When it comes to the urge part, if I want to make it more attractive, if I want to upgrade the skill when it comes to the urge part, I can take the toothbrush and, for example, I can buy a new one. If this one is old, I can buy the one that no longer has this elephant's high saturation of colors and has this very childish vibes. And I can have a normal toothbrush which is not dirty, which looks attractive to me. If I want to downgrade the skill, I'll, for example, have a toothbrush that is very old, that hasn't been cleaned for a very long time, and has a design of this very childish template. I'll make it boring or even unattractive. When it comes to the launch process, if the only activities for me to brush my teeth is to take that brush, open the toothpaste, put the toothpaste on my toothbrush and start brushing, that's like 3 steps, which is very easy and can be done within a few seconds. But let's say that the whole process of me brushing the teeth is about going to the next room where I have a new set of not opened toothbrushes. I have to go there, open a new one, take it and go back to the bathroom. Now I don't have a toothpaste, so I need to open a cabin, reach out of to behind, clean everything from my way, take the toothpaste out, then put the toothpaste on my toothbrush, put it back, put everything I took from the and just close it and then clean my teeth. Then this process requires a lot of steps and I'm not going to do it. I'll just like forget it and just like not brush my teeth at all. If I have to go through all of this again and again, it's too much effort and I'm too lazy for that. We all are. So when it comes to upgrading the launch process, you make the amount of steps in order to complete the skill very a few. If you want to downgrade the skill, downgrade the launch part, you add so much things you have to do in order to get the final thing that you want to have. It becomes so difficult for you to do it that you just won't do it and just stop in the mid process and do something else. And lastly, when it comes to the end result, is that if I want to upgrade this skill of brushing my teeth, I need to make myself feel good. Which one of the ways I can do it is by buying a toothpaste that feels good, that, for example, has this very fresh and mint flavor. If I want to downgrade the skill of brushing my teeth, I can, for example, take a toothpaste which stinks like a rotten fish. I don't know if there exists some kind of toothpaste. But if yes, then I'll buy it in order to make it difficult for me to brush my teeth, for example, right? And that's pretty much it when it comes to the skill basics. We have talked about the four grading components which follow the acronym RULE. Reminder, urge, launch, and the end. Reminder, the thing that starts the action. The urge about whether this process is something that is fun to do. What it's the question why I want to do it in the first place. The launch process talks about the action itself, how many things I have to do in order to complete this activity, and the end result talks about whether I was rewarded or punished for doing this activity, doing this launch, whether I felt pleasure or pain. Then we talk about the stages of a skill that started from a locked skill, we don't know how to do it, into a capped skill where we are unable to upgrade its foregoing components without taking down the overall performance rate. So these are the basics. Hope you understand it. And remember that if you don't control your skills, the skills will control you.